Are all gold and silver bulls perma bulls? I would say no. Any gold bull and silver bull that knows what they're talking about are not going to be perma bulls from the point of saying buy gold, buy silver, no matter what the price is. Because any gold and silver bull that is a real student of the game is going to know of the blatant Western bank cartel manipulation of gold and silver prices in the spot and the paper markets and the derivative market. So we, of course, since we know it gets rated periodically every year, we're not going to say buy all the time, because certainly there are better times to buy, better prices to buy at low risk, high reward points than at a high risk, low reward point. So that's just a simple fact. Now, certainly there may be perma bears out there. I see Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger seem to be two perma bears about gold as far as what they are saying. Now, I'm not convinced that these guys are actually not buying physical gold and holding it for themselves, but certainly they're telling the world all the time that gold makes no sense. But I wouldn't be shocked by any stretch of imagination if both Buffett and Munger hold tons of physical gold. Not literally a ton, but I mean just lots and lots of physical gold, because all these people that are part of this central banking that benefit from the central bank cartel are notorious liars. So they don't tell the public what they're doing. They try to trick and deceive people, and they'll tell people to do one thing and they themselves will go ahead and do another. Prime example is probably Goldman Sachs. Every time they tell people to sell off gold as a slam dunk to sell, they just want to drive the price down so they could buy it cheaper for themselves. I'm sure that's what's going on for their own proprietary accounts. Now, as far as people that also say these things about me, some people say, oh, you say buy gold and buy silver no matter what the price is every year, so what are the losses your clients are sitting on? That's ludicrous, because again, anyone that's known me has known me since day one, even before I started my company in 2006. I was saying more than a decade ago that gold and silver markets have been manipulated, but certainly since I've been in the public eye, it's all there for public record in the public domain. You can go to my blog at www.smartknowledgeu.com/blog and go back to my articles I was posting in 2006, and you can see I was telling people to buy in gold at 580, buy in silver less than 9, and I started talking about some of the manipulation issues like years and years and years ago. It's on public record. So of course people are going to know me that I'm not saying buy gold, buy silver all the time, but yet there's still people that this is what they say about me. So you always tell your clients buy gold, buy silver all the time, no matter what the price is. And these are the kind of lies that people say, because obviously those that have been following me even for just 6 months, not even a year, know that I talk about the Western banking cartel and the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans and the HSBC and the Scotia Macadas and all the other bullion banks or puppet banks of the criminal central banks, how they manipulate the price of gold all the time by selling millions of ounces of paper gold and paper silver to the futures markets in a span of 1 minute or 4 minutes. We're talking like billions of dollars worth of gold and silver that don't even exist, because it's just paper backed by air. So they're, it's like naked contracts basically. And if I'm talking about this and I know that these Western banking cartels raid gold and silver to uphold their Ponzi scheme of the fiat currency system, does it make any sense that anyone with a functioning brain cell, even if you have one functioning brain cell, from a logical standpoint, that I would say buy all the time, no matter what the price is? Of course I do not. Of course I tell my clients to hold back at certain times. And specifically, I remember when silver went to 50, I told my clients, new clients that came on that month, do not buy silver, physical silver at this time, because it is not a good time. And it's probably going to come into a large correction, which it did. And then when it corrected, we told our clients to buy. So obviously, I'm not going to be perfect with my timing. No one can be perfect unless you are a central banker. You know exactly how they're manipulating the markets, through every tick. But there have been times I've been pretty close to the near bottom when I told people to buy and get into physical gold and physical silver. So, the only point I want to make is that there are a lot of banking shills that work for the banking industry that visit my videos, visit my articles to leave these blatant lies, and we don't catch them all the time. So, we don't have the time to go through hundreds of comments. So sometimes, my staff will catch it, and respond to if it's a blatant lie. We're not going to delete anything that just because someone disagrees with us, if they are making an intelligent argument, or even if they have an opinion that differs from us. But when banking shills come to our site, and they go to other sites as well, and just leave blatant lies, then we're going to respond, because it's important for people to understand, because what the banking shills do, the easiest way to discredit someone is to make them look like a loony. So even if there's tons of evidence out there, obviously there's tons of documented stuff from my videos, from my articles, where I've talked about the Western banking cartel and the central banks that manipulate the price of gold and silver downward. So obviously any logical person would deduce that I'm not going to say buy gold, buy silver, all the time at any price. Obviously going to say seek a low entry, high reward price, and that way the volatility of gold and silver, which I've spoken about before, said it's a volatile market, but that's why you need to enter at a low risk, high reward entry point, and that way you can deal with the volatility a lot better. But those that have been with me since 2006, I'll tell you exactly what I told my paying clients in 2006. So I first introduced my clients to buying, and first recommended buying physical gold at 580 ounce and silver at less than $9 an ounce, because it was, I believe, like $8.80 an ounce. So even they have been accumulating all through that time. So their average weighted accumulation of physical gold and physical silver, if you've been with me from the start and listened to me from what I was saying at the start, is still well below today's prices. So no one is sitting on a loss that has been with me for a while. Now specifically, I even told people who joined me in early 2006, who joined my member services specifically to buy Australian lunar coins, and I told them exactly what to buy. I said buy the Year of the Dragon lunar coin at $610 a coin. Now, I know at one point they were selling over $2,000, but gold has corrected. I just went on eBay today and I saw a 2,000. So we're talking, I told people to buy a 2006 Lunar Dragon coin. I saw a 2000 Lunar Dragon coin being sold on eBay for $2,400. So I imagine that the 2006 coins are probably still selling somewhere around $1,800. So that's a 200% profit that people are still sitting on, and which will grow much larger as gold rebounds. Now, I do say, I am always upfront. People that know me know that I am really sincere, that I might not be right all the time. I do admit that, like this year, okay, I've been wrong to probably stay in gold and silver assets, but I do have my reasons, because I believe we're in the final stages. So I believe that would have been risky to sell out of physical gold, physical silver, and try to buy back, because you don't know when the point is going to come when we enter the final stages, just because of the massive sovereign buying by Russia, by China, by the sovereign wealth funds of the Middle East. If we have large clients that have bought millions of physical gold. If I tell them to sell because I think it's going to go down, and then buy back, and they can't buy back, or they might have to buy back at even higher premiums, because you have to understand the physical gold market is really different than the spot or the paper gold market. So there are people that tell me, oh, you could buy close to the spot price in, say, Thailand, even if you factor in that Thailand markets only sell 96.5% spot gold. Now, I haven't investigated this, but I'll get back and report about this. But I'm pretty sure if you're looking to buy large amounts, like $10 million, $15 million worth of gold, you cannot buy anywhere close to the spot price in Thailand. That is just for a few ounces of gold, because in India, where the premiums right now are $100 over spot, don't you think the Indian buyers would be coming to Thailand to buy if they could buy $10 million at close to spot price? I just don't think you can buy large bulk purchases close to spot anywhere in the world right now. So, the other things that I want to talk about is this, of course, since we talk about gold and silver manipulation all the time, of course we're not perma bulls all the time. If you look at the Philadelphia Gold and Silver Mining Index, for example, because we do have gold and silver mining stocks in our portfolio, because we do believe that the best of the best will still rebound. Now, this year has been a particularly tough year because the manipulation has increased. But if you look at the time we launched our Crisis Investment Opportunities newsletter, June 15, 2007, till today, the Philadelphia Gold and Silver Mining Index is still down 36% since that launch date. But our investment newsletter since June 15th, even with this year's lousy performance, because granted, we probably shouldn't have stayed in the market for most of the year, which we have elected to do. But again, we had our reasons for doing that this year. We are still up 106.56% since our launch. Now everyone talks about how great the S&P 500 has been. Oh, it's rebounded like 100%. Only rebounded 100% because it was down 50% in 2007. It lost 50% of its value, and that's going to happen again. Comparatively speaking, over the same investment period, the S&P 500 is only up 13.04%. So we've outperformed during the same time period the S&P 500 by 94%. Who wouldn't take a 94% outperformance of the S&P 500? Everyone's talking about the S&P 500 being like it's the best performance in sliced bread, but we've outperformed it since our launch over the same investment time period in the last 6 years by 94%. So even with this year's bad performance with gold and silver. So here's the thing. Of course, gold and silver are always going to be volatile. Read our fact sheet. We say that. We say if you don't have the stomach to deal with volatility, then you probably shouldn't be in gold and silver assets. But we also say if you understand the truth, then you understand the volatility. The volatility becomes a lot easier to stomach because you understand that the volatility is only affected in the fraudulent paper futures markets. But then in the long run, it doesn't matter if you also offset that volatility by holding a lot of physical gold and physical silver. So obviously over past years, if we're up over 106% over that time period, we haven't stayed in the mining stocks every year. We've traded in and out most of the years, which means we have seen the fact that gold and silver are going to drop at certain times and gotten out during those times. So we're not perma bear. So all the people that, perma bull. So all the people that say, oh, this guy's been saying buy gold any price, that is just ludicrous, because even on my newsletter, my subscribers know there are times I say do not buy gold and silver, wait for a drop until it drops, because we foresee drops that are going to happen over time to time. So they're good times to buy. And the ironic part, not the crazy, the ironic thing is, even though this year has been probably a worst performance since we launched, overall, cumulatively, we're still up over 106%. That's why we always stress, even in our fact sheet, we say you should be with us at least 1 or 2 years, but with the massive manipulation, probably you're looking at a 3-year time horizon. Realistically, if you invest in gold and silver, you want a 3-year time horizon before you judge anything, because you got to be patient through these heavy manipulation periods. And as we enter the final stages, which I've spoken about in my last video, we are entering the final stages of this fiat currency war game, then the volatility is going to get greater, so your patience needs to be greater to pay off. And the other truly ironic thing is that even though this year has been a worst performing year, because all of you know, I think gold started out at like 1,700 and it's barely like over 1,300 right now. And I can't remember off the top of my head where silver started out, but obviously silver's fallen a lot this year as well. So the ironic thing is that actually now would be one of the best times to buy, because you give yourself the best chance of having tremendous gains within the next 18 months or so. Even though I talk about 3-year horizon, I think you will have tremendous gains if you buy into gold and silver assets right now. But that's the ironic thing, is that even though everyone knows in investing you have the buy low, sell high mantra, and right now you have a real good opportunity. But we always see our business take off when gold and silver starts soaring, which is the opposite. Because in 2009, when our newsletter returned over, I believe it's 63.62% or something. I know it was over 63% for the year. Probably so many people at the end of that year bought on. That is not the time you want to buy. So you have to understand that we do advise our clients of when the low risk, high reward times to buy are, and what are the best assets. Because like I said before, we told our platinum members in 2006 when they were buying coins, if you didn't want to buy the bullion coins, to specifically buy the Lunar Dragon Perth Mint coins that are still going in the range of 1,800 to 2,000 a coin today, or somewhere in that range, I'm pretty certain, given that another Lunar Dragon coin was on eBay for 2,400 just this week. So those are things to certainly internalize and to remember when buying gold and when buying silver. So, in the end, you have to look at all the facts, because anyone that's been with me knows, even though I haven't been right 100% of the time, I've been right a lot more than I've been wrong. I've been wrong in the short term sometimes, but right, always right on the long term, because if you look at our long-term performance, we have definitely blasted the S&P 500 and far outperformed any of the most developed stock markets in the world, even with all the crazy volatility that's going on in between. So my job, you know, with our newsletter, with our information services, is basically to get people to be comfortable with this volatility, explain it so people understand that it is just crooked banking, criminal manipulation that's causing volatility, and paper markets. So they effectively sell like 2 million ounces of paper gold like they did in the past couple of weeks to suppress the price of gold futures. 600,000. They sold 2 million ounces in 1 minute, I believe. And that's paper. It's not 1 ounce of physical gold. So you have to understand these games and how they are affecting everything. But if you go, again, if you go to my fact sheets, you see that I will never lie to anyone. I'm always telling people sincerely what my belief is. And, you know, sometimes I'm wrong, most of the times I'm right. But there are times like this year where I probably should have been out of the market at some points, but I stayed in the market because of the belief that we are in the final stages. So you don't know when the points are that the dwindling COMEX, the dwindling LBMA physical gold supplies, and it has drastically dropped when those physical gold inventories, when there's going to be so short that they're going to cause a default. And that's when you will start seeing gold and silver prices soar, and when it will be difficult to buy physical gold and physical silver. So you don't want to sell and then not be able to buy back, because that will be the worst ever. So sometimes I believe it is the proper thing to do to weather the volatility, just because of the risk of selling out and not possibly being able to buy back. So those are some of the points. Like, and then that's also why you can't listen to like Goldman Sachs, HSBC, that say sell gold. It's a slam dunk. You know, they say that's a slam dunk recommendation to sell gold because it's going sub 1,000. Now these guys are saying that. I'm telling you, they're not dumb. They're just deceitful liars. I bet you if you actually were able to go into their financial books, that they would own a lot of physical gold. You know, but we can't see that because, remember, Alan Blinder, former vice chairman of the Federal Reserve, said, quote unquote, the last duty of a central banker is to tell the truth. Like, what private company CEO or what publicly traded company CEO could say that? Like, could Apple CEO Tim Cook say, my last duty as Apple chairman, CEO, or Apple CEO is to tell the truth? He would get reamed over saying that. But these central bankers are so arrogant. They're you know, the criminal culture is so ingrained in what they do that they just arrogantly will say, my last duty is to tell the public the truth. So they're saying my duty is always to lie, lie, lie. That's exactly what Goldman Sachs does, exactly what HSBC does, exactly what Royal Bank of Scotland does to their clients. So you can't trust them. So you have to understand, you know, because I always say in all my videos, I say, if you don't believe what I'm saying, go do your independent research, but just don't believe me blindly. Don't believe what you read in the media, certainly. Don't believe what you read in the media blindly. Certainly don't believe what you hear any top executive at Goldman Sachs or Jamie Dimon says at JP Morgan. You have to do your own independent research to get to the truth. So you can't be so lazy as just to depend upon the media to tell you the truth, because they're not going to tell you the truth. Because they are basically sock puppets of the bankers, and they just spread whatever propaganda the bankers want them to spread, and so you're not going to learn the truth. So if you ever hear these bankers say, hey, just don't believe what I'm saying, you know, go do your research, and, you know, and then figure out whether you're going to agree with me or not. You know, the day you'll hear that is when hell freezes over, because they'll never say that, because they don't want you to think for yourself. They just want you to blindly believe what they tell you to believe. But I will always say, don't blindly believe me. You know, even if you've been watching my videos for 6 years, even if you bought gold at $5.80, silver at $9 and say, hey, I'm still up hundreds of percent because of some of the coins I told my clients to buy, they're up a couple 100% still. So even if you said, wow, I was up 300%, but now I'm only up 200%, but I still believe you because, you know, we are still very profitable. Certainly there are people that have been with me that haven't yet yielded profits because they've been on during the last 18 months when gold and silver have really been slammed. But I believe they stick with me because long term I've always performed. That, you know, now, like I said, ironically, even though our performance has been worse this past year, now is one of the best times to get into gold and silver assets to benefit for the next 18 months. So that's my message for today. So, of course, the message, again, is that no, not all gold bulls and all silver bulls say buy gold, buy silver, no matter what the price, no matter what the time of the year. In fact, a gold bull and a silver bull that knows what they're talking about will tell you certain points of the year, do not buy gold, do not buy silver now, because it is ripe for a price slam. But they'll tell you if you want to keep adding, to wait for a better price to keep adding to your existing stores. So don't believe the banking shills out there when the banking shills try to discredit people telling the truth to prevent you from knowing the truth. Always go back to what I always say is just do your own research to confirm or to discredit anything that you read, anything that you hear on TV or on the radio, anything that you may encounter, because it's always important, especially in this age of deceit that we live in, to do your own independent research and come up with your own conclusions and not just to blindly follow anyone out there, no matter what kind of guru or what kind of expert you believe that they are. Okay, as always, remain intensely curious, and thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button below, and until next time, take care.